My friends and my family, this is Trevor Chapman, modern day man, entrepreneur, achiever, purveyor of the good life, student of life, marketer. After over 10 years in business, tens of millions of dollars, I've learned this one thing. There's too much noise. It takes tactics and strategy. You can't buy it, you earn it through experience. Failure after failure hones the craft. You must become a warrior. It's time to run. The experience you can't buy. You had to have earned it. It's my turn to give back and contribute. I share all of my lessons from 7 to 8 and from 8 to 9 figures. We'll see if it goes from 9 to 10, but I'm gonna give it all to you. Consistency, persistence, dedication, vision, time, discipline, work. I'm gonna give it all to you so that you learn from where I failed and you learn from my experience. My brothers, this is your daily fuel. My friends, what's up? This is Trevor Chapman. I am so excited to talk with you today. We just finished my son's first webinar. For those of you that aren't online marketers, a webinar is basically a sales pitch done to hundreds of people online, live. It's an incredible way to sell. I had no clue what a webinar was until about a year ago. My first webinar, I was lucky. I closed half the people in the room, and I didn't even have the product yet. I just had an idea of the product. Made about 33 grand on my second webinar. I made 800 grand in 48 hours. Guys, it's the real deal. You can really do this. Anyway, since I've done this, I want my kids to develop this skill set. And so for the last 3 months, I've been talking with my son about just doing it and getting it done. And he took the initiative. He came up with a product. It's called Tinderbox. You can check it out, tinderbox.me. He built all of the Tinderboxes, and then we kept putting off the webinar because there's always more important things. And finally today, he came to me and he was just like, we've got to do it today. We leave to Africa. And I could see in his eyes he really wanted to do it. So we went downstairs to the basement while the other kids were asleep. Took about 20 minutes, wrote the webinar script. I did it for him once, how I would do it. And then we went live. And when we went live, the visitors started to come that he could see while I was sharing it onto my Facebook page. 2 visitors, 3 visitors, and I could sense, as all of you that have kids or people that mean a lot to you can see when all of a sudden they lose all control of themselves in the situation. And he was quickly losing control of self and of situation, and we had to gain control again. So once I shared it, I grabbed him. I breathed with him. I was breathing, having him match my breath. I told him no one's watching and to just have full energy and do his best. His best would be good enough. As I walked away, I realized that if I stayed there, he was going to keep looking at me and asking me to take away the pain with his eyes. You know what I'm talking about. I realized that I had to completely remove myself from the situation in order for him to stand up on his own 2 feet, and I did that. I left the basement. I'll share a link somewhere, trevorchapman.com/first webinar is what I'll do. And you can watch the first section of this. You can see as he watches me walk away, as he looks at the screen, breathes a few times, claps his hands, and then gets into state and just makes it happen. Jason, come here. I've got him with me right now. He just finished. When he finished, we ran upstairs, and he had his first sale with his first webinar. Most people do a webinar. They don't get a sale their first try, just like salesmen. The first door that I knocked on, I did not close that door. The first time that someone tries to sell something over the phone, they don't do it. Jace, you just did your first webinar, and you got your first sale. What did it feel like when I walked away, not when you got your sale, when I walked away from you and you were downstairs live?
It felt like I was all alone, but I had to do this, and I had to do it. And the people were watching, so I couldn't cry. I couldn't walk away, so I just looked at the screen. I clapped my hands, breathed a few times, and then did it.
And so when you decided to just do it, what occurred in your brain?
that we've been procrastinating for many months and that we haven't done it. We're leaving to Africa in 2 days, and so I needed to do it before I turned 11. And so I just thought, I'm doing this. I don't care if it's bad. I don't care if it's good. I'm just going to do it.
So you made the decision, and once the decision was made, you didn't ever remake the decision. You had just made it, and it was done. There was no option to run away because you made the decision. Is that true?
Yes.
So tell me now what happened when you ran up. We hugged. I lifted you in the air. You hugged Mom. Everyone's freaking out. You did such a good job. And then we saw your first sale. What happened to you when we saw that first sale?
I was overwhelmed. I started crying hysterically like I've never cried before. I was so happy. I couldn't. Once you get your first sale, that's the only way that you understand what I was feeling. It was utmost happiness and joy.
Okay, thank you, brother. I'm going to finish this real quick now, okay? So guys, my point with this all is that I want you to realize one very important thing, and that is that once you decide, the end of all other options occurs. And it's easy to go forward once you've decided. The people that go to the gym every day, they don't ask themselves the question, am I going to go today? That question was already answered a long time ago. What does the word decide sound like? The end of the word side. Where do we hear that also? Homicide, suicide. There are other sides as well, which basically mean the end of whatever it is in reference to, right? Homicide, suicide, the end of life, the end of whatever it is in reference to. When you decide, the option to question what you are going to do has ended, and so you just do it. Now, when we were creating the webinar, my wife was like, let's just do it tomorrow. And I've learned this one thing over the last many years, that waiting does not count as preparation. It would have done nothing to wait until tomorrow except prolong the inevitable. Prolong, and it probably would have turned into another, let's just wait till we get back. Let's just wait till after your birthday. Just wait till after this happens. Once you decide, you get any other option out of your mind and you will move forward. If my 10-year-old can do a webinar, which is terrifying. The first webinar that I did, I was sweating like a madman. But like him, once I started and I got in state, it's a beautiful thing, your brain. It just takes over. You don't have to consider anything. Your brain, your spirit, your courage, it all just takes over. Now, had he paused halfway through and started wondering again, oh my gosh, what am I doing? What should I say? Had he paused and considered that, then there would have been more of the questioning, the wondering, do I stop? Do I go forward? What do I do? That would have continued. He didn't. He decided. My friends, it is time for you to decide. Make the decision now. When I just said that, what was it that came to your mind that you needed to decide about? What was it? A business to do? A business to not do? Do you remember how one of the things I harp on is that too often when we want to make changes, the changes that we make are by adding complexity to life. I will do this. I will add that. I will include this in what I'm going to do. If you want to make lasting change, you need to ask yourself the question, what will I no longer tolerate? And it changes things because you're not adding to the complexity. You are making it more simple. Now, he decided that he was going to do the webinar, but more profound is he decided that he would not tolerate postponing it any longer. And he decided that the pain of waiting far outweighed the absolute terror of doing it in that moment. If you've got someone that you look into their eyes and you beg them to save you like he was doing with me, you need to kick them out of the room. If they love you, they will leave. I knew he had to do this. I knew what it would do for him. If I stayed there and, quote, saved him, what would that have done to his self-esteem? What would that have done to, and now, what do you think his self-esteem is like? I can't calm him down. He's written in his journal. He's writing a letter to his first customer of his life. Absolutely ecstatic. I couldn't ask for anything better than this moment. I'm going to share the links to the video so that you can see the terror on his face when we start. So you can see me getting him in state and then leaving. It's a profound experience. I recommend everyone do it. So here's my question to you. What will you no longer tolerate? Say it out loud. Say it again. Say it out loud. Don't think it, say it. Lift your phone up to your ear and act like you're talking on the phone so you can say it wherever you're at. What will you no longer tolerate? Hey, Mel, what are you going to do about it? What is your webinar? What is it? Lift your phone up to your head and say out loud what it is. I will start this business. I will knock these doors. I will call these people. I will buy this house. I will invest in that property. I will write this code. What is it? And lastly, who or what is the person that you keep looking into their eyes and begging them to save you? From what? From discomfort? How was me stopping him from doing the webinar saving him? It wasn't. It was an absolute disservice. It's easy to say that in retrospect, right? But at the time, it was absolute being a savior because he was in absolute terror. You've got to walk through that. You got to do it. Do it. Whose eyes or what eyes are you looking into to save you? Say it out loud. Say it now. Phone up to your ear so no one knows and say it. Now, what are you going to do about it? I have a request for you. Please pay back the karmic debt of listening to this because this is just a labor of love by sharing this with somebody else that could use it. Number 2, please rate this an appropriate rating. I would hope 5 stars. And if it's not worth 5 stars, write me a message and tell me why it's not. My personal email is trevor@trevorchapman.com. Write me. Tell me why it's not. I'll fix it, I promise. Lastly, 3rd, please actually write a review on iTunes. I've got 8 weeks to get into the new and noteworthy, and I'm doing everything I can to get there. Please help me do it. My friends, much love and much respect. It's time to decide. Chat tomorrow.